Voces poéticas del Caribe.
Hello, how's everyone doing? My name is Rafael Ostuba. I want to welcome you all to our wonderful program, Voices of the Caribbean. Today we have a wonderful guest from Haiti. His name is Jacques Pierre, and he's going to share with us a little bit about himself and a little bit about his poetry. So, Jacques Pierre. Hola, Jack. How are you?
Good, and you?
Great. Well, it's so lovely to have you with us today. You know, our program is called Voces del Caribe, Voices of the Caribbean. Today we're focusing on poets, so it's called Poetic Voices of the Caribbean. And for us, we are delighted that we have you here to share with us the wonderful voice of Haiti.
Thank you for the invitation.
Jack, maybe you can tell us a little bit about yourself. I know that you are a lecturing fellow from Haiti, now teaching at Duke University. Why don't you tell us a little bit about where you come from and your poetry and the themes that you try to talk about in your poetry?
Yeah, as you said, my name is Jacques Pierre. I'm from Haiti, and I spent like 30 to 30 years, in Haiti before coming to the United States. And when I got here, I was first at Indiana University, then Kent State University in Ohio. Then my first job was at FIU, Florida International University. In 2010, I got an offer from Duke University. And since then, I've been teaching Haitian Creole at Duke University.
Wonderful. Tell us a little bit about when you started writing poetry.
I started writing poetry 15 years ago. So back in Haiti, at that time, I was no intention to publish a book. I thought about something and then I wrote it down, and then I collected 2, 3, 4, 5 poems. And I said, oh, maybe now it's interesting. I need to think about writing a book. And that's how, it started. And I look at, a lot of things around me and listen to my friend, listen to other people. And I said, there are a lot of things, here, and I can make poetry out of those things. I think in a way, we are all, a poet without realizing that. And in my book, what will you find? It's like what everyone, says, every day. I just, put them, in a different way, but the essence is like the life of my people and things that happen in, everywhere in the world too.
So what do you write about? What are some of the things that you cover in your poetry?
Mostly things related to social justice, education, and a little bit of love.
Wonderful. I know you have a poem called Creole. Why don't you tell us a little bit about Creole and why you named it Creole? I know you teach Creole, and so tell us a little bit about that, and then maybe you can share it with us.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, Creole is, the language of all Haitians, who were born there in Haiti and who grew up in the country. And the language, it's a very lovely language. Unfortunately, a lot of people, born in the 1940s, 50s, 60s, even 80s, didn't have the opportunity to learn that language at school. And it's the result of, colonization, where a lot of people, in the Caribbean, Africa, and other places were colonized. Most of the time they felt like, the language is not like the same as other languages. And in mostly, in my life, I felt like I'm on a mission to promote this language by teaching it and then to explain, others what Creole is about. First, it's a language spoken by all Haitians, in Haiti. And second, so there are also people, in other places whose name are Creole, but there's a difference between, people who are called themselves Creoles and then the language. But in Haiti, some people are fine, with the name of Creole, some people are not. But when it comes, to language, we all speak Creole. So even if, some people refuse to admit it like, a full-fledged language, but it's still, our language. And I'm glad, the fact that I'm here and I've been here, for quite a while to share, my language, with others. And it's a very long journey and I really like it and enjoy it. And
so why don't you share a little bit of Creole and tell us a little bit about what is the poem?
The poem first is about, telling people, this is our language. And then, unfortunately, we didn't have a chance, to learn it at school. And then it's time now to reconcile, ourselves, with, our language. It's kind of an invitation, to all Haitians, my fellows, my brothers, to embrace, the language.
Wonderful. Can we hear a little bit of it, or can you share it with us?
Oh, it's a pleasure. It's a pleasure. Creole. Creole, c'est Mac Fabrique, Timon 1804. C'est la donne à virer langue nous depuis un petit 4-4. Qui t'a douane pour ignorer ça qui sorti en donne. Créole parler, créole comprendre. L'école dans pays déconnecté avec langue nous. Nous formater pour nous ça qui sorti de yo goût. Dernier ça qui fait la caille nous tourner yon poilou. Manque identité nous continue méline rakou. Bay créole woli pour suspendre quoi drôle. Belte chaque langue pas camarade aucun lot. Natif dans chaque langue gen valeur 1000 mains sol. Parler créole qui apprend nous bonjour l'ouvri porte.
Wow, that's amazing. One of the things that I was talking with my our good friend, Miguel Rojas Otelo of Duke, who was so kind to introduce us, was when we were thinking about doing this year's festival, the 8th Annual El Quixote Festival, we wanted to continue with the theme of voices. Last year, we were highlighting women voices. This year, we're highlighting voices of the Caribbean. And when I started putting together the programming for the festival this year, one of the things that I wanted to make sure that I included were all or as many voices from the Caribbean, because as you said, in the Caribbean, depending on where you come from, whether it's, Puerto Rico, Santo Domingo, Grenada, Trinidad, St. Croix, St. Martin, Haiti, we were colonized, right? We were colonized by different entities, whether it was from, the Europeans, the Britain, or whether it was the Spanish crown. And one of the first things that they take away when you are oppressed or when you are colonized is language.
Yes.
And I just love to listen to the different rhythms and the sounds of a different language. I think that's so powerful to be able to say that that we keep our language. And even though in the Caribbean, in Puerto Rico and Santo Domingo, Cuba, our main language right now may be Spanish, that isn't the main language. That is not the original language. And it's so nice to see folks like yourself try to continue to find and keep hold of something so precious like it is language. So talk to us a little bit about that and why you feel that that's important, or do you feel that that's important?
Well, it's very important for all of us because our language is our soul. So that's, the tool that we use every day to explain to others who we are, to talk, about life, to talk about, all of the things. And I think we need to promote our language as much as we can. But by promoting, I meant like we need to embrace it. We need to produce, in the language. We need to read a lot of materials, written in our language. And then we also need to educate, our kids, in our language. I know it's a little bit, difficult, sometimes for a lot of countries, to accept or to embrace that. But we have no choice, because other countries, like big countries, that's what they've been doing for many years. We can do it. So that doesn't mean we don't need, to speak other languages, but we need to work in our language. At the same time, we also need to invite others to learn our language. And I think this is a wonderful thing when we have such a program, here at Duke University, where people can learn, Creole. And I feel like, this is an opportunity to share my culture, my language, the way people, live, in Haiti, the way we understand life. And I think that's what we need to do. We need to invite others to learn our language while learning, other languages. It should be like a win-win game.
I agree with you. So when you're reading poetry, or when you're reading literature, who do you read? Who inspires you? Where do you get your inspiration from?
I find my inspiration first, from my country, from my people, like everyday life, and then what's happening, around me. But I also read a lot of, Haitian authors, foreign authors, and trying, to understand, what they're trying, to make, with the poetry, and then how, I feel, about, what they wrote. And sometimes I even, emulate them. But my focus is, what's happening, on the ground, like in my country. And I'm trying, to put them, in a book, and then to tell people, okay, this is what's happening in Haiti, but in another form, to read or to know what's going on. It's not just, like history, politics, in a newspaper, but we can also look, at poetry to have, an idea of what's happening, on the ground, in Haiti. For example, in the poem Creole, it's about education, it's about linguistics, it's about, how, Creole is not well perceived, in Haiti by a lot of people. I'm sure, a lot of people, who have read, newspapers, about Haiti, they know a little bit about of this. But while reading, the poem, so that will give them, a clear idea what the linguistic situation is.
I think I totally agree with you, and I think that when we start looking back at certain times in history, a lot of places to look is at literature. What were the artists writing? What were writers writing? What were poets writing about? Because that's where you can find truth. Is in poetry. It's one of those areas where you can look to find answers of what were people thinking about, what were they feeling, what were they going through. A lot of times it's through the arts that we're able to find the truth of the matter. Is there another poem that you can share with us?
The next poem is Combite. En bas voyon simido, tout moun mette main. Chante Congo ak rada, enterre tout palay en pile. Travay yon tralye moun, toune yon ti chay. Te ap sekle, nan ko les épaules, tout moun sou pa. Yon bel kout men kontre kaba, tout poalou. And in this poem, what I'm trying, to explain is how, people work together, in Haiti, like in places in Haiti. But when we say combit, so the first thing that comes, to to the minds of a lot of Haitians, it's like cooperative work. But in laboring, working, the land. And I'm trying, to explain people, that's what a lot of farmers in Haiti have been doing for many years, to work the land, to build a house.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. I really do appreciate you taking the time to share just a little bit about yourself, about your poetry, a little bit about your history, your language. Is there something else that you would like to share with us?
So first, I would like to say it's a pleasure, for me to participate, in this program. It's a wonderful program, and I really appreciate it because when we talk about, Caribbean, it's not just, countries, where Spanish is spoken, but Creole is there. And I think it's like a wonderful opportunity to let people hear about my language. And I hope, they'll appreciate it. And then they'll feel like, oh, so let me take the opportunity, to learn, this language. I think it's what we need to do, in the Caribbean sphere. We all need to embrace each other's language. We need to know each other, pretty well. Then we can forge a linguistic bond.
Well, thanks once again. I really do appreciate you taking the time to share your stories, your poems, your language. And until next time, I'm sure that we're going to do this once again. We wish you many blessings, and thank you very much for participating.
Merci en pile.
Bye.
Bye.
Voces poéticas del Caribe.